Where you from? People ask me that question a lot. And I'll look at them, examine their facial expression, figure out what they're really asking. And then I'll say, Florida. They look unsatisfied. Florida? But where you from? Oh, I'm from Jamaica. Now they look confused. Jamaica? But where you really from? At this point, I take pity on them. I put them out of their misery. I was born in Jamaica. I'm part black and I'm part Chinese. The confusion lifts and their faces light up. I knew it! They've managed to put me in a racial category, and now they think they know me. It's as if in their heads they've checked off one of those boxes on a standardized achievement test. Now you remember those, don't you? They give you multiple choices, and you get to choose which race you belong to. Well, in the second grade, at 7 years old, I decided, well, I took my first standardized achievement test, and I decided that my ethnicity was Asian Pacific Islander. I'm Chinese, that's Asian. Jamaica is an island. Makes perfect sense, right? Well, it was a couple years before I would figure out that Jamaica is not in the Pacific. And now I'd have to choose between Asian and black. It was 50-50. I'd pick one, then the other, flip a coin. Most people would say, no big deal. But for those of us caught in between, it is a big deal. When you choose one, you deny the other. It was a couple years before a new choice would appear. And I was excited because now I had my own box. Other. So where are you from? Other. Well, a few more years passed and there was now a new option. It was now optional. While others said I should not have to answer that question, I said, thank you for not asking me to choose. Like everyone else in those school days, I was just trying to fit in. I was just trying to find my box. At my elementary school in South Florida, there were no other Chinese kids. They'd never met anyone from China, and so they assumed I was Chinese from China. They would say, oh, you speak such good English. And I would reply, I know, it's my first language. Well, by the time that I got to high school, I wanted to do more than fit into somebody else's box. I wanted to go to college. I had a mentor that gave me practical advice. You don't have to shove yourself into a box. You fit into many boxes. Choose the one that works for you. There are plenty of Asians trying to get into college, not as many black students. Colleges are trying to be diverse. You want the best chance of getting in? Choose the black box. It was as if I was now an airplane with a black box, and she was teaching me how to fly. One day during senior year, the guidance counselor called me to his office. I had applied to the National Merit Scholarship, open to all students. I'd also applied to the National Achievement Scholarship for Outstanding Negro Students. Now, they were from the same organization, so you could only get one or the other. The counselor wanted to know why I'd applied to both. Well, doubles your chances, right? I explained my logic fully and at length. And at the end of this, the counselor leans forward and says, but you're not black. And it suddenly dawned on me why I had been called to the office and what he was really asking. After a long, awkward pause, I said, "My dad is black." His response, "Oh," and he quickly shuttled me out of the office and ended that conversation. You see, at parent-teacher days in school, when my dad walked in, jaws would drop. My dad has a Chinese last name, but he looks black. And then they see my mom, who looks completely Chinese, but when she opens her mouth, she sounds Jamaican. And then they look at me. None of us fit in a box. I just don't fit in. This struggle would follow me to college. I would escape to a place where I could expand beyond the edges of my box, where I could build my own box. I went to Harvard. Harvard is a diverse place with students from all over the world. Different races, ethnicities, cultures, different dreams, expectations, and struggles. We don't fit any kind of mold. We defy labels. We confuse assumptions. We don't fit in boxes. We're all misfits. It was at Harvard, where not fitting in is the norm, that I would learn to fit in by standing out. I simply learned how to walk into groups as the outsider, move beyond boxes, and find connection. You see, when we take out our boxes, sometimes magic happens. We tell each other our stories. And we begin to know the truth that these boxes are simply the starting place of connection. Together, let's move past them. Because we are more than any box. We are more than any box. So much more.